Hey guys, so last month I started a new series on this channel talking about where to spend and save, and the first video I actually did talking all about makeup. If you haven't seen it, you can go and check it out, I'll link it below. And a lot of you guys like this, so I thought I would do another version talking about where to spend and save on skincare. Now obviously skincare is a massive topic and I want to try and make this video as I want to minimise the waffling as much as possible because it is a really, really big topic. But first of all, what I want to talk about in terms of skincare is the fact that, as with anything, it's all on a spectrum. There's not just low-end skincare and high-end skincare. There's definitely a spectrum of prices. And I most wanted to highlight the fact that most of the brands that I buy are in the kind of mid-range bracket. So when I'm talking about low-end, cheaper skincare options, I'm talking like Simple, Garnier, Neutrogena, Nivea. I'm like trying to think of them off the top of my head, but you know what I mean. So like drugstore, high street options. And then when I'm talking about mid-range, I'm talking about brands like Clinique or Kiehl's or Pixi. And then when I'm talking about high-end, you know, you go all the way up to like La Mer, La Prairie, brands like that are super, super expensive. And then somewhere in between those two are a lot of the brands that I shop from as well, like Chapman, Emma Hardy, brands like that. So just bear that in mind when I'm talking about kind of where to spend and save. It is all on a spectrum, and there are certain products that I'm going to recommend in this video that are super affordable, and other ones that are really quite expensive. But it is all relative to in terms of like what you find expensive and what you would personally spend on skincare, because skincare is so personal. Like a lot of people would never dream of spending £50 on a skincare product, whereas other people would think that was really reasonable and they wouldn't dream of spending £200 or £300 on a skincare product, which is kind of the camp that I'm in. So I would happily spend £50 on a skincare product that I knew was working and I, you know, thought was going to be really good, but I probably wouldn't go and drop like multiple hundreds of pounds on skincare. That's just where I am personally, in my opinion, on skincare. So that out of the way, I think it's also important to mention that it's not always kind of black and white. I know I said this in the makeup one as well, and there have been a lot of brands that have come into the industry, especially in recent years, in the case of The Ordinary especially, that have been total game changers for me in the skincare world, because they have made serums and certain ingredients very, very accessible and very affordable, but equally they've kind of demystified skincare. And I think over the past 10 years, since blogging and YouTube and everything have been around, there has been so much more conversation about skincare, and there's so much more information available, easily available, about ingredients and things like that. So my personal stance on skincare is that I look for ingredients that I know that is going to work. So I look for efficacy above anything else really, but also I kind of try not to let myself get suckered into the kind of claims and certain brands where they don't necessarily have the best ingredients in the world. So I know a lot of the kind of high-end designer brands that have started in fashion and now do skincare. A lot of their products are really brilliant, but I'm very wary of kind of what's in them, and I do keep quite a close eye on them on that, and therefore I tend to not use that much kind of designer skincare as opposed to facialist or kind of medically developed skincare brands like Colbert MD, like Zelens, things like that, that are kind of a little bit more sciencey as opposed to all about the branding and the packaging. Not saying that you don't get good products from those brands, because you do, but I'm very much more aware of it. So that's what I wanted to say about the brand side of things. And you'll see from the brands that I'm talking about, most of the brands that I do talk about are a little bit more kind of facialist or doctor kind of brand driven. Anyway, moving on to the actual products, and I'm going to start from start to finish. The first products that I want to talk about are makeup removers and micellar waters, and I am firmly in the camp of the fact that you don't have to spend a huge amount of money on micellar water. Definitely micellar water, and also makeup removers, because I use micellar water as makeup remover. My favourite one, or one of my favourites, because I like the Simple one, I like the original Garnier one, but my favourite one, and the one that I'm using at the moment, is the Garnier Skin Active Micellar Oil-Infused Cleansing Water. Part of the reason that I think that they're probably not worth the money is that I've used all sorts of micellar waters, from the very, very lowest end of the spectrum, it's a few pounds, to the very highest. I've got my La Mer one here that, as you can tell, I've used up about half of it. It's really good. It really is good. I like it. However, I don't know if it's necessarily any more effective at removing my makeup than one that is a few pounds. And I think that for me is why I am firmly in the camp of the fact that you can save on makeup remover. I'm also in that camp because this stuff doesn't usually stay on my face. So a lot of the time, sometimes it does. If I'm feeling lazy, I won't cleanse again. But usually I'll use a makeup remover and then I will cleanse again. So basically, if you're going to be removing it off your face straight after applying it, you're using it to remove makeup. If it does that job well, I don't worry so much about the ingredients as opposed to something that would stay on my face. So that's where I stand with makeup removers. In terms of cleansers, it's very, very dependent on the individual cleanser because there are some good affordable cleansers out there. However, I personally like to use cleansing balms, and I have yet to find my favourite cleansing balm on the high street. I know there are a couple now. The Body Shop do a good one, but for me personally, I find that a little bit greasy and I find it leaves residue on the skin. So for me, cleansing balms are somewhere that I would say I would 100% spend money on. And my two of my favourites, I've got a lot of favourite cleansing balms, are the Clinique Take the Day Off one. If you want a basic one that doesn't have any scent, this is really, really good and really effective. And the Chapman Skinesis Ultimate Cleanse, which has long been a favourite of mine and is on the high end front. It's like £44. I think the Clinique one's around £20. So even then, there's a big price difference. So, but I would say in general, I spend more on cleansing balms than I would on other types of cleansers. I would say you can save on cleansing oils. Personally, I find if you find a good cleansing oil, they can be really good. I really like the Sanctuary one, and I also like the Burt's Bees one. So I feel like cleansing oils are a little bit different to that. I don't know whether it's because cleansing balms are more expensive to formulate. I would imagine that is probably why. Another area I think that you can afford to save on are toners. Now, I don't use I don't really use toners for the sake of a toner. I tend to use exfoliating based toners, so AHA or BHA acids. And I would say I tend to go for the mid-range one. So my favourite one is probably the Pixi Glow Tonic. I've used a lot of these. I do like the Glossier one. I also really, really like the Ordinary one, which is really affordable. So I definitely think you can afford to kind of save on these. You don't need to spend a crazy amount. I've tried expensive ones. I've had the Chapman one, which I really liked, but again, I don't think it's any better than the kind of mid-range ones. So I think that's a category that I firmly stand in the middle on, are the kind of AHA, BHA exfoliating toners. In terms of moisturisers, this is a really tricky one because I always like to combine moisturiser with SPF when I can, and I personally think it's worth spending a little bit more for the better formulation of SPFs. However, I don't think you need to spend a huge amount of money. The one that I'm using at the moment is the Paulas Choice Resist Youth Extending Hydrating or Daily Hydrating Fluid, and this has got broad spectrum SPF. It's really lightweight, but it's moisturising at the same time. There are a few products like this that I love, one being from Kiehl's. Really, really good Kiehl's SPF 50 that's like a serum-y type texture, and the other one being from the Body Shop, which again is low to medium range. So I think, you know, if you're spending kind of £15 to £35 on a moisturiser with really good SPF, that's where I want to be. A lot of the cheaper SPF formulations that I've used either don't have such good kind of moisturising properties, or they tend to be a bit chalky. And then at the same time, I wouldn't justify spending a huge amount of money on something that is moisturising and protecting my skin from the sun, because I don't think you necessarily need to on the ingredient front for that. That's just where I stand on moisturisers. In terms of eye creams, I'm actually going to say high end for eye creams, and that's where I personally choose to spend a bit more money. I think partly because it's where I first started noticing the full signs of aging and wrinkles appearing, but also I think in my experience in terms of eye creams available, I haven't really tried out that many on the high street that I love, with an exception of the Indeed Labs Isolix eye cream. However, even though that's in Boots, it's still about £20. So it's definitely still like mid-range, getting up there to the high end. My two favourites are the Sarah Chapman Eye Recovery Moisturiser, eye cream, not moisturiser, eye cream, and the Zelens, what's it called? Triple Action Advanced Eye Cream. And this one is expensive. This is about £70. I think this one's about £50. So eye cream is somewhere that I personally choose to spend as opposed to save. Then moving on to serums, I feel like this would have been a topic that a few years ago I would have said 100% spend on. However, when The Ordinary came along and basically made hyaluronic acid and retinol serums really, really affordable, along with vitamin C and a few other kind of key effective ingredients in skincare, some of the only proven, like properly proven, long-standing ingredients in skincare, they made them affordable. So now I'm definitely on the fence of you can get affordable serums and they are brilliant. So The Ordinary changed all that for me. This is their buffet serum, but I would 100% recommend their hyaluronic serum. I've also used their retinols and I really like the ones that I've used. I've used the retinoid 2% and the retinoid 5%, but they also do more traditional retinol formulations as well as high percentage, sorry, I'm like talking so fast, as well as high percentage vitamin C too. So I would 100% say save on serums and go to The Ordinary. However, I think The Ordinary really are kind of an exception to the rule in terms of the ingredients in their serums. Another one that I would say, if you want something that is a blend of different ingredients, potentially is somewhere that you have to spend a little bit more to get. So The Ordinary sister brand, Neod, does exactly that. It has kind of more well kind of structured all-round serums, and it's more expensive because of that. Another one that I've been using recently serum-wise that I love and is expensive is the Peter Thomas Roth Retinol Fusion PM, because that's got 1.5% encapsulated retinol and vitamin C and E. So it's a combination of those three different factors as opposed to just being one thing, which is very much what you get with The Ordinary. So you'd have to buy one product as opposed to buying a few from The Ordinary, if that makes sense. And then lastly, my last kind of category is masks and more targeted treatments. And I have to say, although there are a few exceptions to the rule where you can get really good masks for really good prices, I generally tend to reach for my more expensive masks and targeted treatments. And I think that's because they have a higher percentage of active ingredients, a higher percentage of kind of ingredients that I find effective. A few examples of these would be the Tata Harper mask. This is their resurfacing mask, which is one of my favourites. This is a tiny pot, but it is brilliant. This is a really good example of my friends, my real life kind of non-YouTube friends that aren't into beauty, giving brands like this a real test. I gave one of these masks, it was actually the clay one, it wasn't the resurfacing one, to my best friend who doesn't spend money on skincare. Usually she'll get it from me or I'll give her recommendations. She sometimes spends a little bit, but she's not like a skincare junkie. She tried the Tata Harper mask and was like, holy crap, I need to buy it again. It is brilliant. And she texted me being like, this mask is amazing. It's the best thing I've ever used. I'm in love with it. At that point in my mind, I was like, she's now going to Google it and find out how much it is and have like a mini meltdown, because she's probably been slathering it on really quickly, because I didn't tell her that it was an expensive brand, and Tata Harper's quite a small brand, so she wouldn't have known. And I actually spoke to her yesterday about it and she was like, yeah, I did not realise how expensive it was. She was like, it's so good though. And it just goes to show that, you know, expensive skincare in a lot of cases is worth it. So the Tata Harper masks are really, really good. I also really love the Estee Lauder Advanced Night Repair Under Eye masks. I love the whole ANR range. It's brilliant, in my opinion. So yeah, those are a firm favourite, and they're expensive too. They're about £8 each. In terms of more like targeted treatments, I love the Lixir Vitamin C paste as well. This is a brilliant kind of brightening, kind of glow-inducing mask that you can use in the morning for like a minute. It's really quick, and it's really, really good. And then I also love the Colbert MD Intensify facial discs, which are exfoliating and brightening. So they're a combination of microdermabrasion and enzymatic ingredients to exfoliate your skin, but also to exfoliate your skin manually and chemically. So it's using actual manual kind of dermabrasion on the pad because it's textured, but it also is chemically exfoliating as well. But having said that, again, The Ordinary have kind of changed things a little bit for me personally. Their AHA BHA peeling solution, which is a more targeted kind of exfoliating treatment, is brilliant as well, and that is not expensive. So it's definitely You can get the kind of bargainous ones, but in general, I tend to go for more high-end options when I'm going for targeted treatments and masks and things like that. So that is it for this video. I hope it all made sense. Let me know if you agree with me or if you disagree with me. Oh, the other thing actually, before I finish, I didn't write it down on my list, is wipes. Wipes for me, face wipes, love them or hate them. A lot of people hate them. I personally use them a lot just to remove makeup if I'm on the go. I use them if I'm doing my makeup in the car, if I'm like traveling on planes, whatever. I personally think you can save on them. I did have a bit of a love affair with the Ole Henriksen ones, and I still love them, but they're crazy expensive. The simple ones, simple wipes for me, I find are brilliant. I love a lot of the high street wipes. They're all really good, except the Neutrogena pink ones. They are terrifying. I know you're not supposed to use them on your eyes, but on my skin as well, they're just like, oh my god, it was not good. But you generally can get really good face wipes on the high street. I know a lot of skincare people will probably be watching this now being like, no. But yeah, I think you can save on wipes. You don't have to spend a lot of money on wipes. So yeah, that is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see any more targeted videos like this. I don't know what else I can do on. I guess I could do a fashion one, but yeah, maybe I could. Let me know what you think, and I will see you very soon. Bye guys.